The buffer brush is another critical adjustment for the lathe machine. It is responsible for smoothing out the oil after it is injected onto the lathe surface. If it is not adjusted correctly, it can move the oil too much and make the oil pattern play differently than what is anticipated. To lower the buffer brush, we must exit the operator screen and navigate to the maintenance screen, diagnostics, conditioning, and down to toggle buffer up-down. To check the adjustment of the buffer brush, you need the buffer brush adjustment tool that's found in the center compartment of the lathe machine. To use the tool, place it across the rear and the drive shaft and measure the distance that the brush extends past the end of the tool. After we check the 10-pin side of the machine, we move over to the 7-pin side and check the adjustment that it is balanced all the way across. If the buffer brush is out of balance, we use our 11/64 Allen head wrench and access the coupler for the buffer brush to balance it. With the 11/64 wrench, I access the 2 screws furthest to the left and I rotate that counterclockwise to loosen the coupler. Once they are loose, I can pivot just the left side of the brush. With the buffer brush adjustment tool and the coupler loose, I want to adjust the position so it is about 1/16 of an inch protruding past the edge of the tool. And once in position, I will tighten the screws. Located in the center compartment is the buffer brush lifting motor. This is what we adjust to control the height of the buffer brush contact to the lathe surface. The motor is held into position by 3 screws, and I can see by the current position of these 3 screws that the brush has too much contact to the lathe surface. So I will use the 3/8 socket loosen all 3 screws and reposition the motor to the correct location. The final conditioning system adjustment is the dispersion roller contact to the buffer brush. We check that by rotating the buffer brush when it is in the down position. We visually measure the gap that is created from the contact of the roller to the buffer brush. If the gap is too much, it'll change how it moves the oil. So we want the buffer brush just to touch very lightly against that dispersion roller. To access the bolts for the dispersion roller, we have to remove the 2 side covers. The dispersion roller is mounted through a slotted hole. With the 5/32 Allen wrench, you loosen the screw until you can move the dispersion roller freely. The correct adjustment for the dispersion roller is the smallest amount of movement that you can get in the buffer brush bristles.